Welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the biggest secrets to sounding genuinely French. It's called la liaison, and trust me, once you get this right, you'll instantly level up your speech from, textbook French to something truly natural.
So, have you ever found yourself listening to a native French speaker and just wondering how they do that? That smooth, connected, almost musical quality in their speech? Well, a huge part of that magic comes down to one single concept, and that's exactly what we're breaking down for you today.
And we're able to bring this to you thanks to the expertise of a French Rendez-Vous. They're Canada's premier second language school, and they are all about helping students like you succeed through, what they call pedagogical excellence.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to answer the big question: what exactly is la liaison? Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty with the 3 crucial rules: when you have to do it, when it's optional, and, super important, when you absolutely should not. And stick around, because at the end, we'll talk about how you can take all this knowledge and really make it stick. All right, first things first. What exactly is this thing we're calling the key to natural French flow? Okay, here's the core idea. Think of all those silent final consonants in French words. Well, liaison is when you wake up one of those sleeping consonants. You use it to build a little sound bridge to the next word. But, and this is key, you only do it when that next word kicks off with a vowel or a silent H. And why do this? Well, it's all about flow. La liaison is what gives French that beautiful, seamless sound. It's not there to trip you up, it's there to make the language more beautiful. It gets rid of the choppy gaps between words and weaves everything together into this really fluid musical rhythm.
Okay, let's start with rule number 1. The obligatory liaisons. These are the non-negotiables, the must-dos. These are the situations where you absolutely have to connect the sounds to be speaking correct standard French. Getting these down is your first huge step towards sounding truly authentic.
So these rules really tie the grammar of the sentence together. Take les-amis, for example. You wouldn't say les-amis, right? No, you connect them, les-amis. Same for nous avons. It becomes nous avons, and dans un turns into dans un. It might feel a little weird at first, but this is the absolute heart of that French phonetic flow.
Let's put it all together in a full sentence. Listen really carefully to this. Nous allons au cinéma. Did you catch that? That little Z sound connecting nous and allons? Nous allons. That's not just a suggestion, it's absolutely essential for the sentence to sound right.
All right, moving on to rule number 2. This is where things get really interesting. We're talking about the optional liaisons. And this is where the real artistry of speaking French comes into play. It's all about style, context, and how formal or informal you want to sound. So where would you hear these? Think of more formal situations like a news report, a university lecture, or a big presentation at work. In those cases, des amis incroyables might get that extra link to become des amis incroyables. Or ils sont intelligents could sound more like ils sont intelligents. When you use these, it really shows you have a sophisticated command of the language. This next example is perfect for showing the difference. Okay, so in a formal setting, you'd probably connect that T and say, ce sont des exemples. But if you're just chatting with friends, you'd almost always hear it without the liaison, ce sont des exemples. See? Both are totally correct, but they give off a completely different vibe. Okay, now for what might be the most important rule for anyone learning French, the forbidden liaisons. These are the mistakes to avoid. Seriously, making a liaison in these spots is a classic error that will instantly, flag you as a non-native speaker. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. So, what are the big no-nos? First, never link after a singular noun, so the N in garçon stays silent before intelligent. Second, and this is a huge one, never, ever make a liaison after the word et, which means and. And finally, a really critical one. Don't make a liaison before a word that starts with an aspirated H, like in les haricots, the beans. Here's a perfect example of that last point. The word for heroes, héros, starts with one of those aspirated H's. So even though the word les ends in an S, you cannot connect them. You have to say les héros arrivent. Hear that tiny little pause? It's not les zéros. That little detail, it makes all the difference in the world. Okay, so you've got the rules down now, what you must do, what you can do, and what you can't. But how do you get all this to stick? How do you make it second nature? Because let's be honest, knowing a rule and actually using it without thinking about it are 2 very different things. And that's where having a whole learning ecosystem comes into play. True mastery comes from building that muscle memory, and the best way to do that is in a supportive environment. One where you're getting personalized feedback from certified professors, you've got interactive exercises to really drill these concepts, and you have tools like flashcards and audio supports that adapt to the way you learn. It's a structured approach like this that really bridges that gap. The gap between knowing the rules on a screen and having them become a totally natural, instinctive part of how you speak French every single day.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about connecting really high-quality teaching methods, that pedagogical excellence, directly with your personal goals. It's about creating a clear, effective path for you to walk down. So there you have it. You now have the blueprint for one of the most crucial parts of French pronunciation. The real question is, what are you going to do with it? If you're ready to take that next big step on your journey to fluency, then go ahead and check out the resources. It's time to start your journey to mastery over at FrenchRendezvous.ca.